Wow, on mine it shows 12.
Mine
Well,
says
Devin,
24.
that's because you guys are all delayed on your countdown timers. Hello, everyone. We are officially here, I guess. This is going to be our PAX. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Present. Devin, are you present?
I'm present here.
Exactly. This is going to be our PAX conversation around. Oh, Lord of the Board's here. How's it going, Lord of the Board? Sam, I should say. How you doing, Sam? You have a name. Anyways,
I texted my response before you said hi. I'm a better friend person.
you are the best, Devin. You are absolutely the best. But this is going to be our top 10 PAX Unplugged games. And by top 10, we mean like top 30 or top 24, depending on how much crossover we actually have between our lists. We're all going to be going over the games we are most excited for at PAX Unplugged. We'll talk about some of that stuff in a second. But first of all, if you are part of the Camp Co-op Twitch streaming community that Meg and I play games on, and you're excited for Sunday's stream, it may or may not happen today. It depends on how long this goes. If you're not excited for, if you're not part of the Twitch community, head on over to the link that's below in every description to join us over on Twitch. And also feel free to use some of Jeff Bezos' Amazon money to use your free Amazon Prime login to give us $5 every month. It's nice. It can add up very quickly. But that aside, let's go ahead and dive into these top 10 of PAX Unplugged. And I'll start off by just talking about my list criteria. I don't know what all of your list criteria is. I know what mine are. Mine were pretty simple. I picked 10 games I'm excited for. Not that strongly ordered, like a little bit ordered. And they're all games that I haven't personally played. That's my own list criteria. That's all I have. What did you do? What did you do, Meg?
I just honestly went through the list and grabbed anything that I was really interested in that I haven't previously been interested. So there's some like Septima. I still haven't played Septima, but that was something I was excited for Origins, and I saw it. I just didn't get to play. So for me, it was just any from the list that I haven't yet played that I want to check out.
And Devin, yours?
Yeah, my criteria is all just stuff that may not be first presented at PAX. It may have popped up at either Gen Con or Origin stuff, but I just personally haven't had exposure to it, and I didn't have a chance to check them out, and they're ones I'm excited about. So some of them are first for PAX Unplugged, and some of them are ones that came up at previous times, and I just haven't had the ability to do it yet.
Excellent. George, I've fixed my mirroring. Thank you. This is a new setup because we have the games on the little bar below us, and a new setup means I forgot to unmirror myself so that I am.
We're just giving a big shout out to Mind Your Business right now.
Oh, yes, we are. In fact, there's a reason that this is the one below. Basically, Meg came to the conversation with she's like, here's my 10, and I wanted to shout out Mind Your Business, and I was like, well, we can't start by showing our 10, so what am I going to have in the screen below? I was like, Mind Your Business is here for the longest segment it'll get the entire stream. Yep. In any case, but speaking of which, Meg, so I guess you want to start off with a little shout out to Mind Your Business, then I'll start the list off.
Yeah, Mind Your Business is one that I didn't want to put on this list because I got to check it out at WSBG, but I am really excited. They already funded. Their campaign was in November. Gosh, I want to say November. It might have started in October. But they already funded. They're doing pledges. It's a really cute card game where you're just trying to collect treasure as different gnomes in a mine. But I wanted to shout them out because, Alex, after they saw us at WSBG, and I sent this to you on Discord, I don't know if you can pull this in front of that. Can you pull an image in front of this?
And maybe. I'm hesitant to do so.
You don't have to then.
No, we're not going to pull an image in front.
Stream.
Yep.
Okay, never mind. There's a surprise you guys won't know about.
Okay. But anyways, okay, so I'm just hesitant to mess everything up over here. But
yeah, that's fine.
We already do that enough, just,
Yeah. Okay.
Should have asked earlier.
Should have asked earlier so I can set this up. I spent 20 minutes before the stream setting up every single screen that I can jump to. But yeah.
Man.
I feel like you could do it.
Maybe, but we're not today. Anyways, moving on. I'll start off with my... Wait, did they think you specifically want to cover about the picture, or...?
No.
No.
I'm not going to say it if we're not going to show it.
Is this their upcoming game that they're working on?
No.
Oh, never mind.
If you just look at your Discord messages, it's a direct message in Discord if you want to see what it is.
We'll move on to number 10. Starting off number 10 with my number 10 is going to be
become such a thing.
Wild Gardens is my number 10. And this is specifically my number 10 only because I know the least about this one. This is the one that I know so little about it in terms of other than the fact that it's from Rose Gauntlet Entertainment. It's a foraging game. It's a foraging game that has you wandering around trying to collect different things in different ways. And I don't know past that what the actual gameplay mechanics are. It doesn't say anything about about that. By the way, all things in terms of availability, demo, player count, those are all going to be on the screen below you. But the reason I have this as my number 10 is because of the fact that Rose Gauntlet Entertainment made Keystone North America, which is a game that I've really been enjoying. I covered it back when they had the prototype. The final version came. It's a kind of a point optimization game similar to games like Cascadia, not Wild Gardens, Keystone North America, but I've really been enjoying that. This has a similar art style to it, a similar aesthetic, and I'm curious what the gameplay is like, but they're just on my list as a publisher that I'm intrigued by just from Keystone North America in general.
Nice.
This one was almost on my list, but there wasn't enough pictures. There were no pictures, right?
There are no pictures. There are no pictures. There are no pictures. Nothing. It's very minimal information.
I was very interested in this one, but I couldn't find more.
Yeah, no, I'd say half the list of games is like, oh, this seems interesting, but I have zero context of what this game is, so I'll just move on to ones that I know at least a little bit about.
Yeah. Okay.
Alrighty, I'm gonna go and pre-stream. I got some verbal pressure from Meg that I was just like when I play Euros with them, gonna take way more time to go over my stuff. So I'm gonna try and speak really quickly so that I don't take up too much of Meg's day, because I don't want to
speak as fast as Alex.
Okay, I'll just be as fast as Alex. I will be intelligent but not intelligible. So here we go. Alright, my first one is Eatable, which is the Nidavellir expansion that's coming out from GRRRE Games. And I have played Nidavellir in person once, and then I've played it on BGA quite a bit. I have the base game and the expansion. I have not played the first expansion, but I really do enjoy that bidding system, and I think that with a couple of expansions like the one that's previously out and then Eatable that's here, I think it could definitely be one that can just really have a lot of like kind of shelf life in terms of the amount of ways that you can play it and the amount of like little things you can add on. If you haven't played it on BGA, the base game is really simple to learn there and to play, really simple to teach people, because as a card game, the interface is super useful. So this is definitely one that I'm excited about, and it is GRRE Games, but it's under Hachette, which is going to have a larger booth that's got all of the like imprints or publishing labels that they own or are partnered with.
Have you played the first expansion?
I have not played the first expansion yet.
Yeah, so I have the first expansion. I need to play it as well. This one, I'm definitely intrigued by this one. The only reason this doesn't make my list is because I hadn't played the first expansion. It was definitely like I had like a list of like 20 games I condensed down to 10, and this was like I was like I can't be that excited about it if I've had the first expansion for like 6 months and haven't played it. It's a great game.
That's fair.
It's a great game.
That's fair. Yeah, I'll wait till you have one that I'm just gonna invalidate after you talk about it. So.
Okay, now my new goal for the entire stream is to find a reason to invalidate every single one of Devin's picks. Anyways, Meg, what's your number 10?
I've never played Nidavellir, but it's on BGA.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'll play it.
It's on Board Game Arena, and it's okay. Yeah, I don't want to play either.
No, you can play two. It plays better with three, Devin.
I think the message I'm getting today from you two is that it will be faster if I'm not here. And I'm gonna head out, guys.
Devin, it would be faster if you weren't here, but it wouldn't be better. It wouldn't be better if you weren't here.
My webcam.
No, Devin, no, please, Devin. If you leave, it's gonna completely mess up my order.
Oh my god.
Meg, you're number 10.
Such a turd.
I'm like clicking from tab to tab, not sure whose game is whose. Don't mess it up, okay?
Yeah, my bad.
So, not on this list is a game that took me by surprise at Gen Con, which was Cat in the Box, which is a trick-taking game. So my first game is Wicked and Wise, which is another trick-taking game, which I'm really curious to see how this plays. I looked through a bit of the cards. I don't think it's going to charm me quite as much as Cat in the Box, but out of this whole list looking through, I haven't played a ton of trick-taking games, and this is one that, especially where you're like adorable dragons trying to get treasure, which is something I always go for in any game, I'm really excited to see how it plays. I'm hoping it's at least an engaging trick-taking game, but that being said, I don't know how much I hope for it to be better than other ones I've learned this year.
Yeah, Weekend of Wise was definitely one that's on my short list for exactly the reasons you mentioned. I find a lot of trick-taking games recently that I've been enjoying, and this one has
a genre that you originally didn't like.
A genre I hated.
You liked.
Yeah, it was the only mechanic I would say this is a mechanic that I actively don't want to play the game because of it. And now I seek them out.
Wow.
But I mean, this was on Kickstarter, and when it was on Kickstarter, I passed on it because of that aspect. And since then, I've actually enjoyed trick taking, and now I'm like, ooh, dragons and mice teaming up and different asymmetric trick taking. That seems funny. But yeah, definitely intrigued.
That seems funny.
Fun. Seems fun.
This is a silly stream today, guys.
Oh, they're always silly streams.
But yeah, I'm excited about this one. And another thing that I noticed with quite a few of the games on my list, a lot of them are very low price point. That I think it's kind of exciting to see how many games are catching our eye. That I have a lot that are under $45. So
cool.
Yeah,
That's
I'm excited
awesome.
about that too.
It's a nice contrast to the Kickstarter world I play with.
Yeah.
Yeah. My number 10, my number 9, we did number 10. My number 9 is Kinfire Chronicles Night's Fall. This is one that was actually, speaking of that Kickstarter rule that I'm involved with, this was recently on Kickstarter, and it's one that I did not back very specifically, although not because I'm not interested, it's just I find that dungeon crawlers always are surface level appealing, but there's so many of them, and I have so many, I don't play them enough, that I usually need to dive into them to actually see what it is, whether it pulls me in enough. This one of the...
game to see if you like it? Yeah.
No, sometimes I can make more of a judgment call. Other times, I find all dungeon crawlers kind of fall into this arbitrary bucket of just being a dungeon crawler. They don't necessarily have something that pulls me in specifically. And this one looked cool, but I was like, okay, great. It's another, giant box with like 30 scenarios or how many scenarios there are. One of the pitches of it is the quick pulling out of the box, or just pulling out a scenario very quickly and being very accessible. It looked intriguing, but it didn't pull me in a strong sense. I was like, oh, I want to find out more. I want to see what's going on with this one. And so like this was on like my short list. They were like, this is like my second last pick that I finally eliminated. I was like trying to choose between two games. And I was like, Kinfire Chronicles, I'm definitely interested in seeing more about this one. At the very least, potentially sitting down, demoing, getting a sense or a feel of the gameplay, figuring out why is this one special compared to the massive darkness that I'm already barely spending time playing.
Well, it's massive, so,
It is massive. There's lots of content for it. It's great. Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Now, I have an on-the-fly question that we didn't clarify earlier. Are we going straight through our lists numbered, or in this one, if we cross over, do we say it now?
No, we can save it for one. We can save the completely unprompted, uncertain game of what you may or may not be talking about till we get to your section.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just asking for future games, because I'm pretty sure Devin's next game is also on my list.
Ooh. Well, speaking of which, Devin's next game is...
So yeah, we don't have any crossovers from what Alex just did and what I'm about to do. My number 2 is Steam Up, A Feast of Dim Sum. And this was a game from Hot Banana Games. And Pauline actually reached out to me back when they were sending out prototypes for the Kickstarter coverage. And she said, hey, I'd love for you to cover my game. And I responded, I was like, are you sure you have the right email? And she's like, she was like, I want you to do a write-up. And, because I had been doing written reviews on the Quackalope blog. And so I was like, you want just me to just write it up? And so she was like, yeah. She's like, I like your writing. And I was like, oh, okay, thank you. And so I love this. Meg, I have a feeling that you might say that this might be on your list. I don't know why I'm coming up with that weird thought right now. But have you seen did you have access to the prototype of this game?
No, I want to say I saw it somewhere, and it might have been Gamma. Is that too long ago now?
So
I was at Gamma, yeah.
They had a little corner booth at the end, like where a walkway gap was, so it was very visible. And their booth was, very bright because it has like the vibrant white and then like the very bold colors on it. I really, really liked Steam Up. Whenever I got access to it, even the components, which were 3D printed, were adorable. You have like the little dim sum steam baskets and like the little pieces. And it's just, it was an adorable game. And I really love, I really love a lot of, Asian culture, and to be able to see that very unique setting for a game and be able to play it, and the components were amazing. So I really liked getting to see this on the prototype level, and I'm excited that if I'm correct, does it not say it on here? It says it on mine. Alex doesn't have all the information. Oh no, it does. Availability demo at the end there. Yeah, Alex does have all the information you need.
It's weird how my Board Game Geek list that you're looking at is the same one. The internets are astonishing.
Yes, so it's available there for demo. If you haven't checked it out, I'd recommend you check it out. I think it's adorable.
Yeah, this is one that I've always like seen around and wanted to play, but I never got a chance to play it yet. But I've always been like, oh, it's so cute. I want to play with that.
Yeah, I had a chance to play this one, the prototype. I thought it was a little on the lighter side for my personal taste, but the components were off the chart, and the general just selection process, it was very charming in what it was doing. On the light side, but very charming.
Yeah, it's definitely a lighter game, but I had a lot of fun with it.
Meg, your number 9?
My number 9 is one that grabbed my interest by the name. It's Four Humors.
When I saw this, I was like,
He
I
pulled
wonder
the
if
game
Meg's
before he
gonna
left.
look at this. He's just fixing. Oh,
Oh! Lovely.
That's all.
That might not even be in frame. You have to hold it.
genuinely didn't even think about him going to grab a physical copy. I thought he just left.
I love this game.
Someone was at the door or something.
It's like the wizard behind the curtain just is like, I'm going to take a 15-minute smoke break.
Listen, it's Devin's turn's next. I got time.
That's not even true.
I know, but if it were true, I wouldn't have been able to do the line.
So Alex, you might know a little bit more than I do, but it caught my attention because of the name, which the Four Humors is like the toxins in your body that they used to attribute like different illnesses and characteristics to.
Yep.
That's why they used to like try bleeding you and all of that kind of stuff. But that idea really caught my interest because I really love like history and medieval stuff, and I thought it looked really funny for what it is. But it's a matching game where you're trying to collect different people with different types of ailments.
So it's a prisoner's dilemma game. It's a worker placement prisoner's dilemma. Meaning the general idea of it is you have every card, you're trying to win cards that will win you a spot on the map, which is important. And so these individual cards, you're placing your own little pieces on those cards face down, and it falls into the prisoner's dilemma where very often if you're trying to be selfish, you might win if the other person is not selfish, but if you're both selfish, you'll both lose, versus if you're both generous, you'll both win. But if I'm generous and you're selfish, so it's like it relies on that aspect of who's going to screw each other over on a regular basis. And then you place your little pieces down, you flip them over, and depending on the ordering of who tried to get their hands on what, you either end up getting your hands on a bit if you cooperated, very little if you didn't, or possibly a lot if you're just a selfish douchebag and everyone else at the table is very nice. And
Someone in chat was asking what the prisoner's dilemma was. It was like they totally just didn't know, and they were
sure.
what
So
it
to answer
was.
that person in chat, we'll just address him. Prisoner's dilemma is a concept where I sit there, and it's called the prisoner's dilemma because you have two prisoners who committed a crime, okay? And we think they committed a crime, and so what I do is I go into cell number 1 and I say, hey Bob, if you rat out Joey, we'll give you an excellent sentence. We'll give you a 1 year sentence. A 1 year sentence, and if you don't rat out Joey, then you're both, and if we can prove that you both did it, you're both going to get 10 years, okay? And you go to the other one and say the same thing, but I can't remember the exact way it's phrased, but it's like something like if he rats you out first, then if he rats you out first, you lose 10 years. If you rat him out first, you lose 10 years. I can't remember the exact structure of it, but the idea is where you're basically incentivizing people to operate selfishly. Based on the way this game is structured, if you incentivize them to operate selfishly. Now, if both Joey, here's the problem, because we just call it Prisoner's Dilemma, is because if both Joey and Bob refuse to talk, then you can't prove anything, and neither one goes to prison. But Joey's worried that Bob will talk, and so Joey might want to talk before Bob, because if Bob talks first, then Bob gets 1 year and Joey gets 10 years, and vice versa. But if both of them actually hold firm, if neither one of them caves, then they can actually get nothing, because you can never prove the crime. I think that's the concept of it.
Everyone knows snitches get stitches.
Yes. That what she said. Stitches get stitches. But so it's about that aspect of incentivizing people to act
That's the other prisoner's
selfishly.
dilemma.
And so in general, in Four Humors, you're incentivized to act. If everyone gets along, it will help you. But because you're worried the other person's trying to screw you, you might try to screw them. But then you're both screwed. That's the idea.
Yeah.
That's
why you don't snitch.
going on. The person in chat said thanks. They now have context for what you were saying earlier, and they feel better informed.
Excellent. Ask the person in chat if they know how to play Cascadia yet.
I can probably explain that to them. I've played it before.
Awesome.
Oh my.
But that's charming game. I played it. I really liked it.
I'm excited to play that with you, Alex, because I think even you describing like the screwing people over and stuff, I think you and I would have a very fun time
Devin,
with that one.
would you like to play with us?
No, I don't want to crash your guys' hangout, and I know that
Okay,
if I
Meg, we have to find someone else. It doesn't play well with two.
Time, we just extend the playtime so much longer if I was there, just with the.
I'll play as
slowness with
2
which I make
people.
decisions.
You can play as 2 people, yeah, because it doesn't play that great with 2, so we do need a third. So if it's not Devin, we can find anyone else. Probably better.
I'll play
honestly.
as 2.
Hey, cool. That works.
Go on.
Yeah.
I love you guys. Don't forget about me.
Anyways, my number 10 over there. Oh God, Meg, don't pick your mic up. Yeah, your mic, Meg, just for the record, I don't know if you hear it, you probably don't, but when you pick your mic up, it doesn't sound like charming and nice. It goes very gravelly. It's like, rah, 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 rah.
I didn't want to say anything based off of our mic woes in the past, but it was like, oh dear God, don't do that again.
No, it's like, Meg's like, listen to me talking
It makes
into
me
the
want to
mic.
do it.
You can do it, just understand it sounds terrible. Okay. My number 8, I believe we're up to, is Tribes of the Wind. Tribes of the Wind is another one that I don't know that much about. The art from Vicente Trait, the publisher is La Botte Jeu, who's done It's a Wonderful Kingdom, It's a Wonderful World. And what I do know about Tribes of the Wind...
Number 7, by the way. But
Is it?
yeah, you did Wild Gardens and then Kinfire.
Yeah, that would make this my number 8. 10, 9, 8.
9.
Yep. So math. I know math. There's math.
Meg, is
We're
this
doing
what
7 and then 8.
Meg, is this what I sound like when I'm around you? Meg's constantly correcting me on things. I'm like, is this what it's like? Is this how it's fun? Anyways, Tribes of the Wind. Tribes of the Wind. The thing I like about Tribes of the Wind is the idea of it is that you're using the back of your opponent's cards as an indicator of how you play your own cards. I kind of wish I could pull up pictures over here to show things, but that it's a fascinating aspect of how...
Pictures now, Alex.
I can't. Meg, I'm sharing my window. I'd have to like kind of pull the image. I don't want to mess with things. I want things to work.
Don't you dare.
It's just crazy. It's crazy. Anyways, Tribes of the Wind. So it's... What if I click on more details? Nope, that just shows...
No.
I can do that. That's just clicking on the page. Meg's like, no, if you're not going to show my thing, you're showing nothing. Nothing.
I'm not allowed to swear on YouTube.
Well, you're allowed 1, just not that many. Okay, so you can use it when you want. Tribes of the Wind.
I will save it for an appropriate time.
Well, inherently it's an inappropriate time. But anyways, Tribes of the Wind, I like the concept of having your playability limited by what people have in front of them, the cards they have. That concept seems very intriguing. Whether it works out to an actually appealing puzzle, I don't know. But the art and the publisher combined, plus the game mechanic sounds interesting, has me intrigued. Maybe I'll demo it. 2 to 5 players, demo at Gen Con. At PAX, not Gen Con, this is the wrong list.
I would be interested in looking at this one. The cover of it reminded me of Nausicaa, which made me want to play it.
Nausicaa?
Shout out to anyone in chat that knows Nausicaa, because I know you two don't. Devin might.
Wow.
I just know you don't, Alex.
Just making an assumption about me. What
Is
was
it a PS4 game? Because if it's a PS4 game, I know it.
It's a Studio Ghibli movie.
Oh, yeah, I don't know Nausicaa.
Ooh, cute. I like Studio Ghibli.
Do you know Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind?
I know of it. I have not watched that one.
This reminds me very much of it, the cover.
It's called Tribes of the Wind. Maybe it's inspired.
It's very calming.
Alex, stop trying to get in on the conversation, okay? It's just
Let's talk about Spider-Man and God of War. Have you played the newest God of War Ragnarok? I found it's a little high in the cutscenes.
I have a PS5 now. It's right there on the ground.
It's me or the
Right
PS5.
there.
Tell me which of us is more your type.
It's right there. Oh, I'm looking off of the Discord camera and what's cut off there. All of that rearranging I do with my finger isn't even visible on this.
Discord camera is very, very small. Moving on to Devin.
Anyways,
I believe. Devin, what's this?
The camera.
My number 3 is
Devin's
the
counting
first
up
time
as we
this has
count
been
down.
mentioned. My number 8
Yes.
is Kinfire Chronicles Nightfalls, and
Ooh.
I am very. I'm wondering if this is a 3-way matchup on all of our lists, but the reason why I was excited about this was because the idea of having a dungeon crawler experience where like one of the core conceits of it was the ability to get a game in 60 minutes or less, like have a shorter time frame in which you're able to do it. And then also I love the visual aesthetic of this. I mean, I know that they probably didn't base it off of that, but I definitely get vibes of like the critical role Legend of Vox Machina, like the animated rendition that they did of that RPG series. It just kind of looks a lot like that to me. They have like a very widespread, diverse group of heroes, and it looks like it would be really cool to see what they see how they expand and grow over the course of the campaign. Love the artwork, love the acrylic standees. Kind of everything about it is visually made to be something that I would be interested in. And it would just be a matter of, does it have its place in the amount of, I've got Oathsworn over there, and I've got Chronicles of Turing Machine. Like, would I get it played? And so it was definitely one that I'm interested in potentially demoing if I have time for it.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
To you, Meg.
My next one?
Your next one.
It's your number
My
5.
next one.
It's your number 5. Yeah.
My number 67 is
Kevin.
Charcuterie.
Sorry, Kevin jumped in, but you could do Charcuterie and then we'll do Kevin.
Game channel.
Is my number 67. Oh my gosh. I had the tab open of the game. Goodness.
Kevin's delightful. Kevin, did you catch my son and I playing Crokinole the other day? Anyways, go ahead, Meg. You're saying Charcuterie, sorry.
Yeah, so Charcuterie, there's not much out there for it at all. And this is one of the only ones that I picked that I really want to see, that there isn't really anything. But the premise of it, and what 2020 was, especially to like a girl on the internet, like going through TikTok and stuff, there were so many reels of people doing charcuterie boards. It was a really big thing of like making the flowers with the glass with like pepperoni and like making these beautiful spreads for like little home parties. So I really want to see what this looks like. It kind of reminds me of the one that you were doing, Devin, where it's just like this adorable food game where you're arranging things, and I want to see what it is and what it's like. But there's not even any images online that I could find. So
I mean, the theme is definitely unique. I love drafting as a principle, so already I'm half interested. The question now is what else is there?
Chefs
it makes me feel like it's
drafting meats. That I think there's missing some participle prepositions there.
Compete
Chefs
in drafting meats. You're right.
Meats
You're right.
And more to create the most delicious charcuterie
Yeah.
board. So the interesting thing for me is I don't even eat charcuterie boards a lot. Like Amber and I do a lot of we do cheese boards, like cheese and fruit boards. I don't really dabble in those meats, yo.
the meats.
We have a
Some
friend
smoked meats.
who loves making charcuterie boards. They look amazing, and I participate in them then. That's when I
I
participate.
participate in them? What does that even mean?
I
participate in them.
I eat
I
the
signed a
food
waiver
off of...
and I did the live
I
fantasy
participate
draft for the charcuterie
in the
board.
charcuterie board experience. Because it is an experience. A charcuterie board is basically just
Did you
food.
help make it?
No, I eat it. That's half the
Okay,
job is
well-
eating it, Meg. Half the
Okay.
job.
From it, you eat it, you enjoy it.
Yes, you look at it, you compliment the chef. It's an experience. Okay, you TikTok. Devin hasn't touched charcuterie boards at all. Meg's watched TikToks. I'm the closest person here to charcuterie.
Yeah, and just like that description, you're missing all the right words. So
On to number 42. Okay. But first, Kevin, thank you for the super chat. Why do I join just so you start talking video games? Is this not a board game channel? Kevin, that's mostly Devin's fault. Devin generally likes talking about video games. I blame him for most things that go wrong on the channel. Anything that goes right is usually me or Meg,
fair.
but Devin's usually...
That's fair.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'll take control of that blame. I'll participate in the ownership of that blame.
I love how you tried to use that incorrectly and it was used correctly. Board Game Dave. Hey, Meg and Alex. I cannot wait Facts Unplugged. Yes, Board Game Dave. Dave's going to be there. Oh my gosh, we should talk, Dave. Anyways, moving on. My next one is Turing Machine from Scorpion Mask. Published by, I guess, handled by Hachette Games as well. I think Scorpion Mask is under Hachette now, I believe, Devin?
Hachette.
Hachette.
It's
Hachette.
not machete with an H.
Oh, but it sounds so much cooler, Hachette. Hachette Games sounds so much
Come
cooler.
back to Hachette.
Can we agree that Hachette
Oh
sounds
my
cooler?
god.
We do board games.
Yes. Turing Machine.
Charcuterie boards.
Turing Machine is one that I wanted to try at Gen Con and couldn't. They had setups, they had a long setup for people who were trying to demo it, and so I neither got it nor tried it, but like a 7.8 on Board Game Geek from since then. Like, so it was available. This is not its first exposure. This is currently, it will be at PAX. I do want to sit down and try it if I have a chance, and then potentially pick it up if I like it enough. I find these party games, these like deduction-based party games, there's a lot of them, and that means it's a little harder to capture my attention on a regular basis, which one is going to work or not. But this is getting good reviews pretty so far, and it just seems I like deduction, and this seems to give you strong deduction. I am curious to see whether it'll work for me. But yeah, missed it at Gen Con, hoping to not miss it at PAX.
Nice. My next one is Broken and Beautiful, a game about kintsugi. So, this game, I was introduced to it via It hasn't switched on the live stream. Show the game.
Devin, you're like 7 seconds behind. That's how it works.
Trust that it's happening.
Trust.
I'm always
Just
operating.
keep going.
Devin, the thing you have to know is that on their end, you start talking and you see it at the same time. If you address the stream while talking, then you're talking in real time 7 seconds behind. Yeah.
It's okay. Devin's gonna take twice as long as we do.
I feel like it's 2-on-1 today. I was introduced to this game by Jeremy Howard, who was like, hey guys, if you have not seen this Kickstarter, you should check it out before the campaign ends. Like, this is a game that I think deserves to be made. And kintsugi is the Japanese art of using golden lacquer to repair broken pottery. So it's visually a very beautiful game. If you want to know more about it, go check out the Kickstarter page. It's absolutely gorgeous. I can't wait for it to come in. Very small game. It's like it's not like a huge, sprawling experience or anything. It's a very tight, just drafting card game, and it just is beautiful. It looks so beautiful. I can't wait for my copy to come in, and I know that this is just a demo, but I 100% want to check it out when it's physically there at PAX Unplugged, because I'm excited for my copy to come in. And I think more. Oh! Is this just an experience where everybody shows off the? You know what?
I was like, there's no way she's getting the game. This game doesn't exist yet. How is she getting the game?
You know what?
How do you have a copy?
Kevin, this is for you.
A week ago.
Devin, no. Eventually we'll talk about, I don't know, Scrabble.
Scrabble! Yeah, Devin, if you do want to play it, I'm happy to bring this to PAX because it's small, too, for me to pack.
We just bragging about crap?
Oh, no, my number 6 is Scrabble. Run, Devin, run. Get Scrabble. Get Scrabble. Oh, you signed up for that list, too.
My number 6 is Sworn. Go pick it up.
Exactly. My next one is Mistwind. Mistwind from First Fish Games, Adrian Adamescu, Gerald Andrews. Yes.
Are we going in order?
I think so. What are we up to? Is Mistwind you? Yours is Mistwind. That makes sense. Meg, you're Mistwind. That makes sense because Mistwind was on my shortlist, and I was like, I didn't think I picked this. Why is it here? It wasn't my shortlist, but I didn't know enough about it.
I feel like that's what got everything all out of array. My next one is Mistwind. Mistwind I hadn't heard about again until I was going through this list. And the thing that really got me is I believe it's like, I don't even know exactly. I believe it's like you're gaining resources moving around the board. It's a very big board. But the thing that you're moving on top of is ships, but they're whale ships. So there are these figures that are actual whales, but they're the ship that you ride on. I had to go, I think, to their Instagram to find images of it because there weren't that many around. But I really want to see the giant whale ships.
Yeah, so this one looked. That's where I was. This one didn't make my list only because I didn't know enough about the game. I pulled it up as one of my top 20. I love Daryl in general. Daryl, the designer, and the game looked beautiful. And the idea of building trade networks with whales and outposts sounds amazing. And then I couldn't find enough about the actual gameplay, so I kind of gave up eventually. But yeah.
Yeah, when I saw the how big the board was too, I was like, oh, that's really intriguing. That I thought it was going to be based on like the art a little bit simpler. That once I saw like the board and the whales, I was like, I'm in. I would sit down to play that and demo it.
I see whales, I'm like, I'm almost there. I see a board game, I'm like, I'm almost there. I see a board game and whales.
Just telling you, if you put whales on a crokinole board, I might be into it.
Don't worry, we are already going to be putting bug stickers on a board so that you'll play with us.
One of my favorite literary sequences in all of history is the minute and a half that the falling whale in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy spends falling and recognizing the acknowledgement of its own existence before falling to its death. It's just a beautiful minute and a half. I love it.
Man, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
It's
such
good.
A good.
It's
such
so
a good
good.
story.
The movie's not great. The book's amazing. Anyways, my next one, my number 6. Are we up to 6 at this point? Devin's maybe lose count. I think 7. 7 sounds right? 7. I'm gonna go 7.
It's 7.
My 7.
No, I just did 7, and you started.
So I'm up to 6. My number 6 is Hickory Dickory from Plaid Hat Games. This is one that I also do not know a lot about, but because of just the art and the components and the production and the fact that it's Plaid Hat and the fact that it's Hickory Dickory, which is almost a return to the Mice and Mystic roots to a degree, but not really, because totally different, but it made this list from the stance of just being what this is. Mice compete in a royal scavenger hunt inside a cuckoo clock. And if you see the components of these, they look absolutely amazing. Everything about the production looks insane. The art looks great. The idea of it just seems very compelling. The actual gameplay, don't know a thing. 1 to 4 players, 1 to 2 hours. There's a demo. I'd love to get a chance to try this out at PAX. I don't know if I will or won't, but this is very much one that I'm looking forward to this one a lot.
Nice. Nice. Oh, let's see. My number 8 is Snapship Tactics by Lynn Vander Studios. Alex, this is one that I saw you show off on your channel.
Yes, indeed.
And I finally got rid of it, but I bought the starter pack for the 2nd edition of X-Wing, the miniatures game from Fantasy Flight, because I was always like, oh, I would love to have either X-Wing or Armada and have a physical fleet-based board game experience, like kind of skirmish game or, strategy game. And I never got it to the table. I never ended up playing it because I just never had a second person that was equally interested in both skirmish games and Star Wars games. So I never played it. And I eventually was just like, I just need to get rid of this. I was like, even if I did enjoy it, I know I would want to buy more and more and more of each wave of, But this was like, when you showed this off, I thought, oh my goodness, this looks like just toy heaven as an adult. You like click stuff on and off of it.
Yeah.
And getting to see that in person and getting to see all the little features, I was like, man, this feels like someone's like, oh, you like board games. What if we gave you a bunch of really cool toys and we wrote board game in the rules? And I'm like, yes, I will play with the toys and say that I'm playing a board game. I'm going to say I'm going to play a board game. And I'm just...
The starting intro to my video is me playing around with ships and going, choo choo, run out, rogue leader. I'm like just being ridiculous. Exactly. That's so. The toy factor of Snapships is an absolute 10 out of 10. My problem with it from a gameplay stance is that I think it thrives. I mean, I only got a chance to play a 1 versus 1, which I don't think is where it's going to thrive. I think it would need more, like a 2 versus 2 or 3 versus 3. And then the problem you have there is the size of it. Because you're building and assembling these things, the size of the miniatures means a 3 versus 3 would require a decent amount of table space. So I actually really like the gameplay, and I love the assembly and building out your own little, your own Snapship. And the toy factor, absolute 10. I think that I think where the game would thrive, though, is not the kind of game experience I'm ultimately going to play, but I did think it was very cool. Yep.
Nice.
And with that, Meg, your number 6.
My number 6 is is the Emerald Flame. So this one's a little bit older, and again, like I hadn't really looked into this one, and the name and the cover caught my eye, and it's actually 3 puzzles.
Yes.
3 and you said, Alex, they're probably very difficult.
I've only heard from one person who played it, and they said it makes like exit games and unlock games look like a walk in the park.
And each puzzle is an hour and a half to 3 hours. There are 3 of them to do, and one of them alone can take you 3 hours to do. The only thing that I'm curious about this one is I want to see it. It looks absolutely beautiful. It looks stunning. I love the design of it. That it's almost like an escape room, like if you lived in the Harry Potter world or something like that, like a that you might find. That being said, for the price point, I'm really curious to see it. Because it is a bit expensive for something that's 3 and done and then you won't play it. But I'm really curious if it's similar to an exit game where you destroy it, or if it's something that you can reset and give to someone else for them to try play it through.
Because I don't remember which Kickstarter is which, so there's been so many at this point. But like I think it might have been this one where I think they had reset packs, but it might have been a different game that I'm thinking of. So there's a lot of these out there.
Yeah, so I'm curious about both of those things, but alone if the components look as great in person as they did in photos, like I might still do it anyway.
This thing looks beautiful. I remember checking it out on the internet. I love puzzles, so this is one that was on my short list but didn't end up making it, but I was very intrigued by it.
Yeah, it's very cool. The difficulty does scare me a bit. Didn't Jesse and Shira get utterly stomped by the intro puzzle? Yes, they are. Those are the people I'm thinking of when I say that I know one person who played it. Quacklo had a copy, and they said it was just incredibly difficult. Now, I don't know. I don't know. I am curious by it. I am wary of escape rooms that feel like work. I love escape rooms that challenge you enough that you feel rewarded for the experience, but I don't want to be challenged to the point where I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Let me just go bang my head against the wall for the next hour and a half while we struggle here. I want difficulty, but I don't want obsessive levels of difficulty. Now, like Spice, this is obviously a very subjective experience that everyone will have their own tolerance level. But yeah, that's where I am.
Yeah,
Anyways.
I want to try it. That makes me want to try it. If I hear that it's hard, I'm like, oh, I want to be able to do it.
Meg, we'll go hide away from Alex because everybody knows that he's the one that makes things take longer.
Yeah, he's usually a detriment at puzzle and deduction games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah. As long as, listen, you should be fine with Devin as long as there's no counter to 10. Moving on to my number 10, we have Flashback Zombie Kids. My number 10. My number 5. We're so busy with that move and joke thing. My number 5 is Flashback Zombie Kids, which at first was actually not on my short list because I was like, this is great. It's more Zombie Kids. I don't know if either of you know Zombie Kids, but they have Zombie Kids and then Zombie Teens, which are basically these little legacy games in which you're playing a cooperative game as you fight off zombies from a school. It's very charming, very fun, but they're also they're very kid focused. They're legacy games for kids, very easy to dive into, very easy to play, and just very much on the lighter side. Like imagine you took Zombicide and condensed the bare bones of it to the tiniest, easiest to play game. It's great. I think it's good. The problem is Flashback Zombie Kids. I was like, okay, great. I have Zombie Teens. I still haven't played that yet. I'm not that excited about this one. But Flashback Zombie Kids, and I think this might operate to their detriment, is a very different experience. Zombie Teens was kind of the same idea as Zombie Kids, just taken to the next level, whereas a Zombie Flashback is more of a mystery game that's going through a bit of a story aspect to it. You're looking at these cards, trying to look at the cards and figure out the story. So it's using the same line, and it's giving you an evolving gameplay similar to that, but the gameplay structure is actually very, very different as you try to look at these cards with great art, and it's supposed to be kid-friendly, but imagine a kid-friendly, almost like an unlock experience for kids, although they actually do have unlock for kids. That's a different conversation. But yeah, I'm intrigued by this one. My kids would love to dive into it. It has fun art, and then I get to sit there and play these little puzzles with them and look at. I don't know that full gameplay, but I'm intrigued. That's my number 5.
Hello, Hexy Beast. How's it going? My number 5.
You may be crossing us on the way up at this point. Yeah, 5. We're up to 5.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think so.
Definitely.
Is Fateforge Chronicles of Khan from Mighty Boards. So, I know that this, launched on crowdfunding and had a lot of eyes on it at that time, and then I actually had the opportunity to see this game at Essen. And I didn't get to demo it or anything because I didn't have time in between my shift. I was just trying to, move around as much as I could. But I was able to sit down and chat with Evelyn, who is from Mighty Boards, and talk with her about existing games and games that were coming up. And she did a fantastic job kind of sharing with me their ambitions for Fateforge. And they have very, a long view on this. They're going the distance in terms of their expectations for what they want to create with this. And there are people that are going to be familiar with Fateforge from the RPG setting. And then the thing that I was really impressed by was all of the elements that she said they are working to kind of create a board game experience in an RPG adventure setting where it was very much each individual group of players that sit down at the table get to determine how they want to experience it. One reason why I like Oathsworn so much is that it's a big experience, but because of the companions and because of the, shortened story version, that they really let you kind of jump into that how you want to experience Oathsworn. And I think that for bigger games like this, the more variety they allow you to access the game with makes it much more likely that people will actually play it rather than play it a little bit, and be like, oh, it's so much to get to the table and not do it. So the fact that Fateforge is going to have shorter sessions of play, the fact that you can choose how much do you want to lean into the story aspect of it versus just the very visceral combat that people really liked from Fateforge RPG, all of the ways in which they're trying to make it very, very easy for people to sit down and get to the table, and the app that takes a lot of management off of you. I'm excited to see where this goes because I kind of missed the train on the Kickstarter, and then after chatting with Evelyn was very much more hyped on it than I had been, when I didn't know anything.
Cool. Yeah. This is one I had a chance to play. I covered the prototype. Overall enjoyed it, but it's one that I very much am curious where it evolves to. The prototype is obviously limited experience, and I want to see, and I know they're making a lot of changes as well as far as how the interaction works. An interesting aspect of it is you're facing off these tactical little puzzle maps, and you're not supposed to communicate. You're supposed to just take your turns kind of feeling each other's gameplay as opposed to actually saying what we'll do or how we'll handle it. So like taking that Gloomhaven style of not communicating to the next level and like really not communicating, which is a interesting puzzle for the gameplay, but takes a little bit away from the table session and the experience of actually cooperating. But yeah. Anyways, moving on to, I think, Meg.
My number 5 is Acropolis.
Ooh.
Acropolis is one that I heard about from you, Alex, because you got to play it at Gen Con while I was busy, and I never got to play it. And I really want to play it. It was one that you were so excited that I was like, I want to go try it right now. So it's a city building game where you're each building your own cities with these tiles that they can stack on top of each other to get better points for different things that you build. That's pretty much all I know about it besides how much fun people are having with it. So I was like, I don't need to know much more. I just want to sit down and try it. But I still haven't gotten to try it yet.
You, me, and Devin. At PAX. We'll sit down. This is one of those.
Please.
This and Hoplomachus Victorum were my 2 Gen Con highlights, and we both know how we feel about Hoplomachus, Meg, so it doesn't mean you like Acropolis. And the thing is, you don't like Cascadia quite as much, and the thing that pulled me in about Acropolis is someone at the convention, because the cover didn't pull me in at all, in the slightest. And then someone at the convention said to me, is like, oh my gosh, like Cascadia with levels, and I was like, I want in because I love Cascadia. So you may not be as primed to like it, but also you do like Calico, so it could go either direction.
My main critique of this game is that the artwork does an absolute disservice to actually translating what the game is.
Yeah.
Like you can't get anything about the game from that cover. Like it does not convey at all what that is. And when I played this with Allison and Daniel from Play the Game, and when they brought the box in, I was like, oh, great.
Homework.
Cool. Well, yeah, I was like, awesome. And then we played it. I was like, this is a fantastic game. Why does that look the way it does? Because it doesn't communicate what it is. So,
yeah.
But really good. Yeah. We should play that.
I would love to. And again, that's one that is priced so well. It's priced so low that if it is a lot of fun, like, you know, compared to all these games, and if you're going to be grabbing a good handful of games at PAX, this is definitely one that's affordable to pick up too.
Yeah, it's got some chonky tiles in it.
To give you context, I have this on pre-order, and I almost feel like I want to pick up a copy just so I don't have to wait for the pre-order.
Well, I'll buy one.
That works. Problem solved.
Yeah.
Problem solved. Too, you guys have to.
My number 4
14 hours south
is also a Gigamic title. Is it Gigamic or Gigamic? I don't actually know.
Gigamic.
It's
Gigamic.
My number 4 is a Gigamic title. And I don't know how to pronounce it all. Quawali. I don't know. I have no clue how to pronounce that.
I think it's Quawali or something.
Quawali. I don't know. But overall, this is a game about distributing pebbles on a path, trying to line up pebbles of your color. It almost looks like a cross between Connect 4 and TAC. TAC is one of my favorite abstract games, if not my favorite abstract game in my collection. And this kind of looks like it has a TAC element as you can move pebbles around the board, but making sure to leave some pebbles on locations. And so it's all about the top level of those pebbles. The game looks like, I mean, if it looks anything like the picture in terms of the components, then it looks great, it looks charming. I like solid abstract games. And also the fun fact about Gigamic is so Corridor is one of my first games that I ever played. Corridor is a game that I played well before I got into board gaming. Meg's shaking her head because one time in Board Game Arena I showed her Corridor, and she may not like Corridor.
I still don't forgive you.
Still don't forgive me for it. Corridor is it's I believe it's pronounced jar. But what's it called? As far as the game goes, it is. I played Corridor way back before I got into board games, before I got into like designer games, and it was one of those games I held on to for a long time. Eventually I moved on from it, but it's still, because of this, Gigamic has a soft spot in my heart because one of my first games was one of theirs. Whenever they have their abstracts, their Corridor, their other games, they have a bunch of these in this abstract line. They have like 4 or 5. Like, they have Corridor, they have the Pyramid one, which I don't remember what it's called. They have like 5 or 6 of these abstract titles, and I was very intrigued by Quawali to be able to see if this one is one that works for me or not. And reasonably priced at $38.
Quartor, Corto. Yeah, they have a
Feel
lot
free to
of them.
play this one with Devin.
Mike's like, if it's anything like Corridor,
Yeah.
let's just stay
You're too
friends.
mean.
Let's just
Yeah.
stay friends.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, my number 4 is Joyride: Survival of the Fastest from Rebellion Unplugged.
Oh,
So,
if I would have seen that name. Oh, this is so interesting. I didn't. I saw this title, had no interest in the art, had no interest in anything going on here, and I didn't see that's from Rebellion Unplugged, which would have made me absolutely interested in it.
So this is one that I almost scrolled by, and then I was like, wait, a racing game. Wait, Rebellion Unplugged. Wait, I like both of those things. So I stopped and I actually tried to find, I went to Rebellion's website. I tried to find info about this. It's not very much exists on the interwebs as far as I could see. But, just based off my experience with Death Road's All-Stars, with Tiny Turbo Cars, I wanted to see what a racing game like this was going to be. The fact that the playtime is 30 to 45 minutes was one that I for sure was excited about. It says it's a fast-paced 2 to 4 player game in which you do whatever it takes to beat your opponents through the gates into the finish line, whether that be through skillfully weaving your way around the track or bashing your opponents out of the way to claim victory. Sometimes the fastest route to the finish line is through everyone else. So that's all I could find on it, and that was just from the BGG thing.
Yeah, so Srebny's asking in chat, what has Rebellion Unplugged done? And they've done Sniper Elite, which was a hidden movement game that I really enjoyed. But yeah, and so like I'm on, and it looks like Pete Ward, I believe, was the designer of that as well. I don't recall if Duncan was too.
So Duncan Malloy and Pete Ward were also on the Sniper Elite, and
along
then they
with
are
David
also,
Thompson.
Maybe
I think. But yeah, either way,
the other one they've done that I'm not sure where it is, if it's out or if it's fulfilling, is Judge Dredd, which is another IP that I like a lot. So. Yeah, I'm excited about this, even though I can't find any information. So I'm interested to try to demo this if we have time, Alex.
I'd love to. Yeah. Meg, to you.
So my next one is a game that Alex and I still have to play together, the first game, the old game, but Gosu X. I'm really interested just to see it. I didn't know about it until this list came out, and that was one that you were like, oh my god, they're on the list, and I was like, oh my god! So it is like a skirmish battle card game, but yeah, I'm just excited to check this one out, especially to see how it's different from the old game, that I'm thinking I'll bring that with me to PAX.
Yeah. Gosu is a fascinating one. I have a long history with Gosu. One of the first games I got into in the hobby, and it's a bunch of goblins. You're basically trying to recruit these clans of goblins, and the economy of the game is so ridiculously tight as far as the ability to actually play things and go into the next battle and draw more cards. A very tight game that relies heavily on how you build up your tribes and the abilities therein. Really well done. Really enjoyed it. And then Gosu 2 came out, and I kind of never... I think I played Gosu 2, but it didn't stick around the same way. And then I was browsing through this list over here, and I was like, Gosu X? Like, they're doing a Gosu version. Like, this, it seems to be taking away from the goblin aspect, which I liked the goblin charm, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
This one seems to be focusing more on more of a, I can't recall the art, but it looked a little bit more medieval.
I have some information on this one. that
We'll
I
wait
can
till
share.
Devin brings it up, and later in this conversation.
What? Who said that?
Yeah, definitely intriguing. Definitely interested in this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Did something just change with Meg's audio? Did it just spike?
Uh-oh.
Or not, maybe not. That might be. Never mind.
Was it me?
I think I tapped my own volume knob. Okay, moving on to you. No, that was not me. On to me. My number 3. I think we're up to 3s. Yes, 3s. Wow, we're down to 3. My number 3 is... Wait, did I just go from 1... Yeah, my number 3 is Gosu X. I got confused for a second. I'm jumping back from tab to tab. It's not changing. My number 3 is Gosu X. Gosu X was also my number 3 for the exact conversation we just had, so we can move on to Devin's number 3.
Cool. My number 3 is one that we've already talked about. Turing Machine. So was it Origins or Gen Con? I think it was Origins this last year when Turing. I think that was when Turing Machine was available or whatever. It was either
Gen Con
or maybe it was Gen Con. But essentially, I was working the booth and at Lucky Duck, and people would come by and be like, "Hey, what are you interested? What are you interested in?" And people would be like, "Oh, I picked up Turing Machine. Oh, I just got out of line from Turing Machine. Oh, I need to go over to get Turing Machine. It's almost out. Oh, I think Turing Machine is out now. I'm gonna go play Turing Machine. I just picked it up, and I was like, man, that's a
You
really.
should have told the last
really-
guy he can't get anymore. It's out.
I was like, that's a lot of buzz for a game that sounds boring, but just based off the title. Because I was like, I guess I'll go watch Benedict Cumberbatch for like 3 hours.
I was about to say, if you watch that movie and you think Turing Machine is boring,
Yeah.
Benedict Cumberbatch is a prince amongst men, and that movie was fantastic.
You're such an Alex.
Like imitation game, it's a good movie. Can I not be snarky without
Okay,
having
fine.
your
As long-
judgment?
You have to be clear when you're trashing Benedict Cumberbatch. You have to be clear in advance that you don't mean it. Otherwise,
But so I researched it later, and I was like, oh my goodness! I was like, this actually sounds really up my alley. I was like, I love puzzle games. I love like figuring out, different codes and stuff like that. And then I was watching a Brothers Murph video, and I hadn't looked up a ton of Turing Machine stuff. I had just looked up enough afterwards to know that I'd be interested in it. And then he was like, yeah, you pretty much can like have a different puzzle every day for like the rest of your life with it. And I was like, well, that's got some longevity to it, maybe. Just mathematically, that could stay in my collection for a while and still be fun. So after I saw that, I was like, I need to pick this up. I was like, this just looks like one I'd have a lot of fun playing.
cool. Yeah. I mean, I'm clearly interested.
Yeah, I don't know why this is one that hasn't. You're both interested in it. I wasn't super grabbed by it when I saw it. But I do want to say shout out again to that price point. If it's a game that you can literally play that many times for $40.
Yeah. I mean, Meg, you just may not be interested in it. Like, I mean, if you just suck at games like Corridor, like it may, just be not your thing.
If there were bugs inside the computer that we were trying to save.
If there were bugs and whales that were like going after each other inside of Benedict Cumberbatch's body, I would get all up in that.
I love how Meg's the only
There's a
person who
reason
wants
for
a bug in
saving
her
them
computer.
behind the puzzle. What, Alex?
I love how you're the only person I know who actually wants a bug in your computer.
Yeah.
It's a computer joke, like bugs. It was really funny.
That makes me think of Zoolander with the files are inside the computer.
Yes. Unemployed lawyer. Yes, we are definitely talking about Benderman Cumberbatch. Yeah. Anyways,
Yes.
from there, moving to Meg. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is Hickory Dickory, which both of you mentioned.
Just me.
Just Alex? It's by Plaid Hat Games. I absolutely love Plaid Hat, and they do a lot of adorable, like, dungeon crawlery type games. So I'm really excited for this one because it's that same cuteness, but it's one that's just everyone for themselves where you're playing competitively, which I'm really interested in. And then another thing I don't think you said, Alex, is that they use like Azul type tiles, like the ones that are in Azul and Libertalia. That I'm really excited just to
Chunky
have
acrylic.
that component. I want to touch them. It makes me want to play with them.
No, I get it. If you could put me in a bathtub full of those tiles, I'd be down. I'd just
yeah.
sitting like it just full. Clothes on.
Tub full of them.
Clothes on. Yeah, just like a bathtub full of those chunky acrylic
Yeah.
tiles. I would do that.
Yeah, I would be buried in them
Yeah.
for sure.
Are you
Yeah.
gonna put like any water in there at all to like?
No, that'd be weird. Why would you do that?
No, a lot
That
of
would be
Vaseline.
weird. The central premise is already not weird, but putting water in it, that makes it weird.
Yes, Devin. Have you? I don't understand. If someone said I wanted to be in a bathtub full of money, Devin's like, "Do you want some water in that bathtub?" Is this how the conversation goes? Have you never heard of the concept of being in a bathtub full of an item? It means you like the item. Nobody adds water to that.
That would be a bath.
That'd be exactly. Thank you. How is this not like?
But if you like bubbles, you put water in it. You don't just get into the bath with bubbles.
Do bubbles exist without water?
This makes me think that Devin still gets
I
bathy
I
time
don't. No.
with the bubbles.
I mean, to be fair, I have a 3.5-year-old. I do still have bath
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
so-
fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one looks adorable. And again, it's by Plaid Hat, so I'm really excited just to see what they're doing.
Yeah, thanks, Grim. I would 100% get in a bathtub full of Cool Whip.
Hey, if you want to make
I
things
don't
really
need
weird,
tiles in there.
when the last time I
There's
ran
a
into Tom
lot of
Vassell,
full of things I would get into.
the last time I ran into Tom Vassell at WSBG, I was like, by the way, I know we've been talking, interacting, and all that stuff already, but like, I just want to say like, thank you so much for your content. Like, I've said this before, but thank you. Like, I've been watching you for like a long time. Like, I remember back in the day when I first got in the hobby, I'd like sit down in a bath and just throw the dice tower in the background and just watch you guys. He's like, I really appreciate that. Also, didn't need to know that much information.
But what I want to know is, like, was that an Alex joke, or was that something that actually happened?
Actually,
Have you ever
genuinely, I was into the hobby excessively, and I was like, I was trying to figure out what games to buy, and I'd literally like say, I'm gonna take a bath and just watch board game reviews for the next 2 hours. I would do that. I love board games. Leave me alone.
For 2 hours?
Not 2 hours. That's an exaggeration. Probably a half an hour to 45 minutes. Miami Dice, cruising along the water. June.
Oh my gosh.
Devin, you're here to talk about video games, and sports and things like that. I'm all board games all day.
I'm all board games all day, baby.
I'm cool.
I feel like Alex could go into like a fraternity in college and just be like, board games all day, baby. I'm gonna get the bath going.
If you don't chest, you even, bro. My number 2.
Has not been to college.
My 2.
I gotta go. I have a call at 2 o'clock.
Even, bro.
Is Marvel Remix, which is weird that it's on this list because I've played Red Rising and was only intrigued by Red Rising. I liked it. I thought Red Rising was fun, but like my biggest problem with Red Rising, which is a retheme of fantasy realms,
Marvel.
that's part of it. But my problem with Red Rising is it's basically a retheme of Fantasy Realm, which is a game about all gathering cards and trying to figure out how they all score together. But I liked the end game of Red Rising. I didn't actually like the gameplay. So I loved getting to the end and figuring out like how you scored and all that. But the actual sequence of just constantly drawing, discarding, I didn't find rewarding. But then Marvel Remix is basically the same exact concept. It's built on Fantasy Realms, but it's Marvel, and that just makes me more interested. It might let me down completely. It might, but like I'm playing through Marvel Snap. I love Marvel United. I love Marvel Champions. I generally have enjoyed and appreciated Marvel as an IP when thrown on a good game. Thrown on a bad game doesn't really help me, but thrown on a good game, fine. And so I'm totally prepared for this to let me down, but I am excited about it until it does. Also, Meg, what do we want to point out? The $20 MSRP.
I was gonna say, I don't know. I'm getting lost now, and if we can market the bathwater.
Oh, I sell my bathtub. I sell my bathtub water. I take a bath in bathtub water, and I sell it for like watching Dice Tower in the bathtub on Board Game Co. And it's like $40 a jar.
Yeah, that's what I was literally I was getting lost thinking that.
For Devin and for anyone else who doesn't know this, that was a thing that someone did.
Belle Delphine.
Belle Delphine sold her bathwater. Now, not as popular as Belle Delphine, I'll acknowledge that. But within the board game space, this is getting weird. We need to move on. Okay, cool.
So
Everyone
gross.
comes with a meeple inside.
Why
is that gross?
I don't know. It's just an extra level on top. You get
Makes it more real.
a separate dangled piece from Hickory Dickory that's in a different bath that I sat in.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyways, I'm glad that we only do this at the hour point in the stream, because the people who have made it here are already committed. Yeah.
We
Anyways.
gotta talk about something else.
Devin, we can talk about your number 2. That's a bad segue.
Also sold in a jar. My second to last item is another Hachette title under the Sorry We Are French label of Galileo Project. So,
Oh, Kevin.
you guys were not at you guys were not at Essen, but Studio H, Hachette, they had a huge booth there. And Sorry We Are French had, first off, Sorry We Are French to me is one of the best publisher names in existence. Like, it's hard to get better than that for me. I just think that's an amazing publisher name. But Galileo Project is gorgeous. It is so beautiful to see on the table. It is absolutely sumptuous. Like, I did not get the chance to sit down and play it. I absolutely want to. It looks like a fun game. The tables were like packed every single time I walked by the booth, and it's one that I definitely want to try out.
Yeah, this is on my short list for games that when I condensed down to like those 20, this is one I definitely wanted to talk about more, but I just didn't know anything about it. It looked beautiful. I like the publisher, but I didn't know anything about the actual gameplay, so I kind of like eventually knocked it off the list, but I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I'm curious to see it.
And I think almost all of the Hachette game titles that we've talked about, like Eatable, Gosu X, Galileo Project, there's Turing Machine. It's not demo. They're all available. They are all available. I mean, they'll have demo tables, I'm assuming, but they're all available for purchase, which is cool.
Cool. Meg, your number 2?
My number 2 is gonna be a shocker. It's Kinfire Chronicles.
Our first three-way crossover.
It's a three-way. There are two things that I'm excited about for it.
Sorry, what?
Moving on.
There are two things about it that you guys didn't say that I am excited about for it. Alex, just to correct you, you were a little bit wrong. You said like 30 plus scenarios. It's 15. Which I appreciate because I think that's something that we might be able to play through. So if we both like it, that's something that we could maybe try to do the filming thing.
Shout out to those who missed it. We do have a Twitch link in the chat down below where we play through campaign games. And honestly, I mean, one thing Devin said about this is that it's nice and short, like under an hour compared with most games. Meg, you and I lose Gloomhaven in under an hour all the time.
True.
Anyways.
And I don't even need you to be losing. So yeah, it's 45 minutes to an hour, and it's 15 plus quests, but I think it's around 15 is what you can expect. And then the other thing that I'm also very excited about is that they've partnered with Foreteller, that their audio narration is through Foreteller, which makes me very excited. I love anything Foreteller does for narrations for games. So yeah, shout out to them even more.
Nice.
Excellent. Very cool. Which brings me now to my number one, which I don't even remember what it was, but my number one is Heat. Pedal to the Metal. Heat Pedal to the Metal is it's another racing game. This is from Days of Wonder, and the thing that has me intrigued here is honestly that 7.8 rating over there, because this is a Days of Wonder title that I did briefly see at Gen Con. I kind of looked at it, and the problem is Days of Wonder used to be like just a go-to publisher for me. Anything they put out, I would want to get my hands on any single time. And then the problem is, then I think the last one for me was River. From River, they kind of started going downhill for me. I think they even the Yamatai didn't really heavily lock me in. Five Tribes is the last golden game for them for me. I love Small World. I love Ticket to Ride. I liked a lot of their games that they had over the years. And yeah, Five Tribes is the last one, and still have that one in my collection. I love it. Yamatai was good, but wasn't as good as Five Tribes. River just felt like a major step away from the level of games that they were starting to move towards, a step down in terms of accessibility, meaning making it much more gateway friendly, which is good, but not as much my thing. And I kind of saw Heat Pedal to the Metal at Gen Con. I was like, oh, okay, fine, they're doing a racing game now, but I wasn't intrigued enough. And then I saw the 7.8 and looked into it a bit more, and it seems people are really liking this one. And if you combine Days of Wonder in general, their name, combined with the fact that the 7.8 is a good rating, and I like racing as a genre, and it seems, I believe this takes mechanical notes from Bicycle, if I'm not mistaken, which is a very well-rated game. It's not a re-implementation, but like there are mechanical similarities of like the drafting aspect of, you know, making sure you're behind people at the right time. And yeah, a racing game, 30-60 minutes, it's going to be demo only, but this time around I actually hope to sit down and demo it.
Tim's got a question for you.
Will you choose Heat over this one Devin picked? Nope. And the answer there, so the reason for that is, a pure racing game is intriguing, but the other one combined with the publisher, Rebellion Unplugged, does make me more interested. Now, granted, I'm saying this without having actually really seen the gameplay of either, but instinctively I'd go with the Rebellion Unplugged one over Heat, but that might be the wrong choice, and I'd have to re-answer that once I actually play it.
My last one is our second three-way crossover.
Dun, 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 dun.
Gosu X.
Yes.
So, I'm excited about this one. I love two-player games. They're just that head-to-head. Alex, I got to teach a couple people. I didn't even bring it with me. Some other people brought it to Thanksgiving, but I got to teach a couple of my cousins Seven Wonders Duel. And like halfway through the game, my cousin who was losing, he just like looks down at his board and he looks over at mine and he goes, "I don't like you." And I was like, that's exactly how I want a two-player game to go. It's like because I just enjoy an experience where every decision you make is not only how much it helps you, but how much, while it helps you, it hurts the other player. And just like that extra layer of thinking when I'm trying to make a decision is so enjoyable to me. And it's very much more two-player games. A lot of them take you out of just the board game and make it to getting into the mind of the person across the table from you. And I always enjoy that. And I think something that's really clever about Gosu X is that when you're picking, you're drafting, so you do like kind of like a little bit of a snakish draft in terms of you're picking from 8 different clans. or 8 different groups of cards.
That's an upgrade over the 5 of the original game.
So you pick 1, and then the other person picks 2, and then you pick 2, and then the other person picks 1. So you have 6 out of the 8. But the really cool thing that I think is unique is you're picking those because you want those cards in your deck. But the 2 that aren't picked, those clan abilities or identities create the rule set that you play by. So like, whatever's not picked actually will influence and determine some of the rules that you have to abide by in the fight. And I'm just like, oh, so no matter what you pick, you're always trying to come up with some combinations of the particular cards and, you know, decks or whatever that you want involved. But also what's not picked is going to determine like what might influence like how you play. So I really thought that sounded cool. And just based off of like Hachette's titles, like across all of their different like labels or imprints, like they're really, really solid over the course of like the last couple of years. Like they've just, every time I've heard of someone talking about one of the games, they're like, oh, this is a really solid experience. And so the idea of like a very visually attractive 2-player game that is got head-to-head abilities going on, but also has even a lot of decision making, you know, because like I know that like Meg, I don't know how much it's a big thing for you, but like a big thing for Alex is just a game that has a good drafting process. And so the idea of so much game decision also just being in the pre-game of what you're adding before you even start playing, I think is really cool.
Yeah, I love the concept.
So I'm excited about this one for sure. And again, it's affordable. So the Hachette booth 3107 is like on 5 or 6 of my top 10 here. So I'll just be over there for a while. Yeah, just chilling over there.
And Edward in chat pointed out the heat is closer to Flamberg. That's what I meant, not bicycle. Flamberg has bicycles. I meant that game. Bicycle is a different game that has bicycles. Yeah. Meg, you're number 1.
My number 1 is kind of silly. It's Dungeons and Dragons: The Yawning Portal.
I was wondering if you're going to be interested in this.
I'm so excited about it. So for something like D&D where it's a game with a lot going on, this one kind of reminds me of Red Dragon Inn, where it's after the adventure, you guys are all drinking at the tavern and you're doing different things. You're trying to acquire gems and stuff like that. There's not too much about it, but I'm excited, especially because it's with Avalon Hill. I don't know. I just want to see it, and this is the one that I'm sad I can't purchase, because this is one I would purchase without playing. I would pick it up if I could, but instead I have to just demo it and then want it for months.
I mean,
I'm excited.
You can do that last-minute convention thing where, you know, it's like 45 minutes before closing, where you're like, you don't want to bother to take this with you, right?
I'm a content creator. I'll do content. I'll do content.
Go.
It's just too big of a prototype. You're not going to want to demo this anywhere. I'll take it.
Yeah, I really want to play this one, and I want to own it and play it all the time. I want it really bad.
Yeah, this is on my short list. I couldn't find a lot about the gameplay, but it wasn't my short list initially. Just in general, Avalon Hill's titles or the Dungeons and Dragons titles are always intriguing. It's just a question of what actually goes on behind them.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very cool. Those are our lists. Our 30 games, or maybe 24.
Nidavellir on BGA.
Yeah, we can play Nidavellir. You can do that. We have a Camp Co-op Twitch streaming community. You want to go play Nidavellir over there?
I'd happily play that game.
We can talk. We can talk. You know. But in any case, we're going to go ahead and call a wrap on this one. This has been the top 24-ish games from PAX Unplugged that we are looking forward to. And we'll be back with more content. This, by the way, I should have said at the beginning, this is in place of our usual Wednesday live stream while doing PAX Unplugged and get ready for stuff. So this Wednesday, there is no live stream on the channel. There will be content. There will be plenty of videos. There'll be a little less of Devin's face, but a little bit more of other things to watch. And with that, we're going to go ahead and call it a wrap. Thank you everyone for hanging out here. And until next time, I hope you have a good one.
Bye.
Definitely. I was gonna end stream while your face was still there. You ruined it. You ruined it.